The right to know the truth is emerging as the most important right in the human rights movement. The people are entitled to know what their government is doing. Now, we all know that governments are secretive, they do things confidentially, and when they are forced to tell the truth, sometimes they lie. Either this lie is blatant or they tell you the technical truth by withholding important information. In other words, they don't tell you the whole truth. Now you might ask if the democratic governments are more open to truth than dictatorships. The answer is that yes, not all governments are equally secretive, and governments lie to different degrees. But it is absolutely critical to understand that all governments, regardless of the form of the government, whether it is democratic or kingship, or whether it is military government, or whether it is a government like the one in the United States, all governments, without exception, are secretive, and all governments, without exception, lie to their people. Take, for the example, the case of the assassination of Osama bin Laden. Now, the peoples of the United States and the peoples of the world are entitled to know how Osama bin Laden was killed. We do not know the facts. Nobody knows the facts. We are not interested in knowing or looking at the pictures of a mutilated body. We are not even interested in knowing how the body was dumped into the sea. The peoples of the United States and the peoples of the world want to know that how Osama bin Laden was killed and who was with him in the room on the third floor. We do hear that his wife was shot in the leg, but this information is not authentic. We don't know. There should be a truth commission established of fair people, and preferably an international commission, truth commission, that would tell us what the facts are. And these facts will not be known unless the government of the United States and government of Pakistan, both which are directly involved into this assassination, they share the truth with the peoples of their own countries and with the peoples of the world. Now, in the past 5 or 6 years, the right to know the truth is fast emerging as an important right without which other rights cannot be protected. For example, many governments engage in summary executions, what is also called extrajudicial killings. Some governments have engaged in disappearances, where the persons simply disappear. The distinction between disappearance and arrest is that when a government arrests you under the law, the relatives know that the person has been arrested. But when you disappear, the government does not recognize the custody of the person. And so the person falls into this black hole and nobody knows where the person is. And mostly these persons who disappear are killed. Similarly, governments commit torture. For example, what happened at Guantanamo? We know some facts, we don't know all the facts. So governments who engage in summary executions, who engage in torture, who engage in disappearances, who engage in female trafficking, who engage in the mistreatment of migrant workers, all these governments have an interest in not disclosing the facts, and all these governments tend to be secretive. Now, governments that engage in war, like the United States, which is actively engaged in wars in Afghanistan in Pakistan, in Iraq, and in Libya, the United States government has an interest in keeping many things secret regarding the war in these nations. And we understand that not all the facts of the war can be disclosed simultaneously. But the peoples of the United States and the peoples of the world demand that the United States tell us that how many people have been killed in Afghanistan, how many houses have been destroyed in Afghanistan, how many Afghan children have been crippled, how many women have been raped. Similarly, we want to know what is happening in Libya. And even though I do not approve of the Libyan dictatorship of Mr. Gaddafi, but the peoples of the world are entitled to know what NATO is doing in Libya, and how many people, innocent civilians, have been killed, and whether NATO is planning to kill Gaddafi. So I think, in a nutshell, the peoples of the world have the right to know the truth. And unless the peoples of the world openly demand that the governments tell the truth, the governments will continue to be secretive and, when forced, lie to the people. And this will have to stop.